level, selling out many arenas, and he's right there close, if not inside most people's top 10 pound for pound. There's still that cry, though, that, hey, Gervonta, we need you to face a next level guy, somebody that dangerous. For Ryan Garcia, this is undoubtedly the toughest matchup of his career. But when you put these two styles together, it's not just speed, power, and all the fanfare that comes with that. It's really the fact that is their individual strength ultimately the weakness of the other? Can Ryan Garcia, with the 4.5-inch height advantage, with that lightning fast speed, and maybe the potential ability under new trainer Joe Goosen to continue to learn how to box and create distance, can he use that speed and distance to build rounds against Gervonta Davis? But if the fight turns in the second half, like a lot of Gervonta fights do, when he downloads data, when he makes those adjustments, does Ryan Garcia have the chin to hold up under that level of smoke? We teased both of those sort of narratives at both yesterday, and I think you saw the responses. And Ryan Garcia, his goal, his point is to prove those detractors wrong, to prove those critics wrong that think, like they thought about Oscar De La Hoya, his promoter, who's now a Hall of Famer, you're just a pretty boy, you can't fight. This is that ultimate test. And how do I like the styles contrasting? They both can box, they both can punch, but it's who can lead that dance, who can control the terms of it. I think Ryan Garcia has the opportunity to make the kind of leap in terms of his talent and what he can do with his performance that we haven't seen yet, because he hasn't faced anybody yet who could make him, who could force him to have to. And that's why you need to make the best against the best to answer these questions.
Who has more pressure on their shoulders going into this?
I love that question.
Yeah, it's one of the best.
I love that question because they're both have the opportunity with this fight to some degree of gaining whatever level of credibility that they have yet to, that they're reaching to. And it's not just stardom and the idea of the young face of the sport. And I throw young in there because, you know, you give respect to guys like Canelo Alvarez, Tyson Fury, who in a lot of ways are the face of the sport. Gervonta Davis has become right there with it. But Ryan Garcia and even Gervonta, who just happens to be 4 years older, that's why he's a little bit ahead in his, maturity, they're a part of this new generation just the same of who truly has next in this game, with the Shakur Stevensons, Devin Haney's, with so many of these names that are popping up all around that look like they have next in this sport. We want to see them fight one another. They are. Who's got more pressure to live up to those expectations? I think really it could be
Wait, it
could be a 50-50 stalwart in terms
there's
of
a clear answer here.
What you look at. I mean, look,
it's Tank Davis.
I thought, that's interesting that you said it, because I thought 100%. You were going to say Ryan Garcia, because the idea
Ryan's playing with house's money here.
It's the critics that still don't think he's elite. That still don't think, and this is that ultimate test.
If he brings the fight to him, if he stands toe-to-toe, if he takes his best shot, Gervonta's older. Gervonta's the guy who's headlining pay-per-views, Showtime pay-per-views, like you would say a little more established as far as a draw is concerned. I know that, we talk about the social media numbers and all that nonsense, which I feel like is overblown at this point. Who the hell cares how many social media followers? I mean, maybe
if he's got 9 million on Instagram, I care a little bit. It's impressive.
It is tremendous. If he tags you, it's great.
I'd like to take my shirt off and sing in front of a camera and have people hit the heart button. It doesn't happen.
No, I'm not trying to downplay it, but anyone, like, I hear people say, like, just a social media guy, like, what are you talking about? Do you not watch this? It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I think it's Gervonta Davis because he's the older guy, and if I'm being honest, I felt like Ryan was a little more vocal about making this fight happen. And it's interesting that you say that Gervonta is the more mature guy, veteran, etc. Who's the one that showed up early yesterday? Who was the pro yesterday? It's interesting how the roles are a little bit reversed here. I feel like Ryan is feeling like this is my coming out party. This is the big leagues, right? This is my big pay-per-view headliner first time. This is my chance to show everyone I'm not that guy. And yet, even if he doesn't hit the home run, step up to the plate, hit the home run, proverbial, I think it's okay, because no one really expected him, and he has every reason not to take this fight. And so to me, it's a clear answer. Sometimes you could go the 50-50. I think that you were sitting on the fence. Are you answering texts in the middle of this? What's happening?
Sometimes I get important instructions.
I like to talk about everything, by the way.
Sometimes I get important instructions related to the broadcast that I relay in real time. So as we
have an IFB?
As we continue to get closer to the start of today's press conference, both fighters en route to the venue.
Are they there?
In Los Angeles.
There's a little gamesmanship going on.
Speaking of yesterday, Wednesday in Times Square, when we talk about it, and I like the way you broke down the potential of who has more pressure. Well, at the end of the day, they both do, and that's certainly the truth right here. But in terms of what we did see in some of that iciness, I think that stare down Wednesday on the stage there. Talk me through what you were feeling. I was in the arena, so maybe I'll go first. I was in the arena. I can feel the
You just asked me a question, and then you answered your own question.
I've seen that done before in the podcast space, so there's no question about that. I could feel the energy in the room, and I enjoyed it. How did that feel?
Well, no. Now you got to go more. You got to go more.
I don't think so.
I feel like I just made you like self-conscious there.
I blew right through that stop sign.
You did?
It didn't slow me down for a second.
I loved the theater. I loved everything about it. I say let those, in MMA, we try to rush the stare downs. Let them go as long as possible. As long as it doesn't get physical, which it didn't.
I like a little physical. Physical. Maybe that's the old school theatrical side of me. I like a little fireworks.
We don't need the physical. I thought it showed a lot of restraint. I wish that we could hear what they were saying. I wish that it was mic'd up. I love the fact that De La Hoya and Bernard was getting involved there with the nice little gray beard that he's rocking.
Does Bernard Hopkins, who of course works for Golden Boy Promotions, does he not look like he can get in the ring right now in his mid-50s? I mean, he already fought as a 50-year-old.
Yes.
But it's just incredible.
Gervonta, not sure. Was he wearing shorts? Were they just short pants? I'm not sure. It was, the whole look was great.
So, Ariel, you want to talk a lot about this fourth wall, so let's just remove it right here. Are you and I, as two gentlemen in their relative early 40s, has it passed us by to understand how cool Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis potentially dressed?
Amazing. No,
they were confident. They were coming to make a statement.
They looked incredible. They looked like superstars.
I don't think I could pull that off. Is ultimately what I'm trying to say from this dad view here.
Goes without saying, but both of them look great. I love the gamesmanship of him. Honestly, now I'm talking as a viewer. You might have been annoyed. Him showing up late, I thought was a flex. I think that's a flex. This is my show. You're going to wait for me. I know it's not easy as a host because, you're probably told 10 minutes away, then it ends up being 20, 30, 40. Not easy, but I kind of dug that. And now I'm curious to see who shows up first here, right?
So I'm glad that you said gamesmanship, because when Gervonta Davis, after Wednesday's press conference, sat down with Luke Thomas and I, my first question sort of jokingly, did you get the wrong time, or was this, I'm trying to get in Ryan's head? Now, ultimately, what Gervonta told us is he apologized to everybody involved for running late.
Shouldn't have.
He was working out overnight. He took a nap in the timing and ultimately was off. I do feel to some degree Gervonta's trying to say, look, we are both superstars. We are both guys who are coming in here with unbeaten records, knockout ability, flashy skills and all that. And, at the end of the day, we're going to come in and we're going to flex. But when two alphas get together,
it was great.
One always believes they're ultimately
like Ryan was
the
upset,
side.
right?
One ultimately always believes I'm the reason why their fans are here. I think there's some element of a flex of what Gervonta Davis did at the end.
I think it all was. I don't think he wanted to necessarily admit it, but I think Ryan was annoyed. He brought it up a couple times, right? And then what about that line at the presser where he's like, you would show up on time, right? Like almost like you're the goody two-shoes. You're just happy to be here.
Think about it. You're the opponent.
Yeah. I love it. And so that's why I'm wondering, now we're in Ryan's territory, right? We're in Cali right now. Not physically, but they are.
Sure.
And it looks fantastic out there. Wow. Can't wait for the scenes. And so I'm wondering if Ryan's like, okay, now we're on the West Coast. We were just on the East Coast. That's technically, I know, Maryland, New York, whatever, but I'm curious if he's going to try to respond. And I wouldn't be surprised. We've seen this with other superstars in the past. We've seen this with Floyd. We've seen this with Conor McGregor. You show up late. Next time, I'm going to show up late, the opponent says. And I love this. This is what I love about these quote unquote world tours. This is not a world tour. It's a 2-day thing, but this all, like, I'm a sucker for this stuff. I'm a sucker for the poster. I'm a sucker for the face-off. I'm a sucker for it all.
You're preaching to the choir on the idea of the love of the pageantry that builds up fights. I love the technique. I love the passion of a fight. But you know what I love? The idea of banging that drum and getting people excited that something here is going down. Like Gorilla Monsoon would say, it's a happening.
Oh, my God.
This event on Wednesday was a happening. The build of this fight, I certainly expect to be. Can't wait, of course, for the kickoff of Showtime Sports' all-access digital series on the build-up.
When's that?
April 1st, the first of a two-part series. They certainly want to get ahead of right there to see what's really going on behind the scenes. But I wonder behind the scenes, ultimately, if there was a part of Tank that's trying to flex in that regard, who comes back with that this time around? Are we going to see a little bit more trash talk and disrespect? Because in terms of sitting down at the dais on Wednesday, largely respectful. But when you do stand up one another and look each other in the eye.
Especially now after the face-off, whatever was said there, they're going to come in a much different mood. And I got to tell you, King Ryan, if you're listening, you don't show up until that guy is there. Please, brother, don't show up. You can't do that. You can't do that the second time because now you're just getting punked, right? This is a game right now. This is like, -1 round, right? Like this is part of the fight. This is part of the mental warfare, and I love this stuff. I don't know about you. I don't have any dinner plans. Like I'm ready to go.
I'm ready to go.
If they want to go 4 hours, let's do it. Like, as you know, I'm usually the guy who goes 4 or 5 hours, so I'm ready to go. No bathroom breaks. We go strong. And if I'm Ryan Garcia,
was that a reference to the amount of bottled water that I've
There
assembled?
is a lot of water here, and I'm curious as to why there's
I have called myself Brian Camel before.
Yes,
because
but what happens when
that's up to me to figure out. And you to, the deal is, did I throw a little shade at you off the top by not properly introducing you? Maybe there's
weird.
Maybe there's a little meeting of the minds in a fight before the fight between you and I, but it adds to the energy and the tension of this. Who will show up first? Who will, bend that knee? And will the iciness
Who do you think shows up first?
Continues? If we have a chicken match like we in some form had yesterday, I give a lot of credit to Luke Thomas who joined me yesterday. We did 90 minutes. We had some great interviews. We set the stage.
Tough job, but you guys did a phenomenal job. It is really hard to fill. People don't realize. If you know you're going 90 minutes, that's easy. You guys are pros. You could do that. But if you think they could show up at any moment and you don't know whether to go long, whether to flesh out a thought, right? That is tough. That is not, especially live.
We'll see how long you and I will.
I'm hoping that this,
ultimately fill. But no shortage of angles to talk about. But something I'm just finding out from talking to you off camera. I know you've interviewed King Ryan Garcia in the past. I know you followed his journey closely. There's some form of symmetry between you in terms of a bold proclamation that he once said regarding this fight on April 22nd. Can you tell that story?
I appreciate it. And I wonder which fight will be tougher, that one on April 22nd or me and this IFB. I'm not sure. Still TBD, but the IFB is giving me a lot of trouble right now. I'm not going to lie. Ryan Garcia and I developed a great relationship over the pandemic because I don't know if you're familiar with Helwani boxing, but it really took the nation and really the country and then the world.
I mean, when you say nation, I assume you're speaking Canada. That's what I assume.
Well, that's why I say this nation, country, not the same. And so it was the thing, the box ball thing, and
oddly enough, my wife bought that for me for Christmas that year that you were pushing that. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't really get it.
Four-time CEO, she's part of the family, right? So it all makes sense. And I was trying to lift the spirits of the people, right? And so I was doing this. Now, who was the king of doing these? Ryan Garcia. And so he saw me do it, giving me pointers, talking to me. We developed a really nice relationship. And then what happens, he takes his break, his mental health break. And a lot of people, let's be honest, were jumping off that bandwagon. A lot of people were saying, he's a faker, he's a liar, he's just a kid, he doesn't understand what mental health is. Like, what kind of problems does this guy have? He's good looking, he's a millionaire, he's a boxer, he's a superstar, everyone wants to be him. The women love him, the men want to be like him, all that stuff. And I had his back. I never kicked him while he's down. And I think he appreciated that. Anyway, fast forward, Buds comes on my show recently and said, at the end, and this is before I knew I was going to, be a small part of all of this, he said, are you going to be there? Now, at the time, I think we thought it was going to be April 15th, but it's April 22nd. Are you going to be there April 15th? And I was like, I don't know. It's, kids leave house, soccer. And he's like, listen, man, when I knock this guy out and I look to the crowd, if you're not sitting in the front row, we're done. I need you in the front row because I know that through thick and thin, the IFB is just, what can I do? Now it's just down for the count.
I don't think you need Doug Crosby in here to go 10-7 IFB right now.
We're approaching 10.
There we go.
Do we need it? I don't know if I need it.
No.
We like to shoot around
I'm getting enough text messages and comments in my ear.
There's a lot going on. I don't know what's happening. You're on Reddit. You're on Twitter.
I got red skin. I look like, as Luke would say, country time lemonade here, but that's okay.
You look fantastic. Seersucker suit, tremendous. Anyway, let me finish the story if you don't mind. He says, I'm going to look at the crowd. You need to be the Adrian to my Rocky. I need to point because everyone...
Did you wear the red beret like Adrian did or what?
I'll do whatever he wants.
Okay.
Now, I just want to say, unlike what other people like to say on the internet, I'm not a fraud. I am not biased. I'm a very unbiased, legitimate journalist.
I think it's up to every fan to decide that, okay?
I just...
okay, you know my opinion.
Every man, woman, child, snowman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so you want to call me a biased journalist. You want to say that I'm rooting. I'm not rooting because I like Gervonta. I was at Mayweather and McGregor. Were you there?
He's charming. I was, of course.
By the way, people I think forgot that Gervonta was on that card, but not a bad undercard in retrospect. Badu Jack, Gervonta Davis, right? No one was in the crowd. I don't know how early you showed up, but it was like literally 1,000 people for the prelims all the way to the main event. Point is, I said to him, you know what, Ryan, I'm going to figure this out. We're going to make it happen. Here I am. I'm a man of my word. I've always been a man of my word. And so I have to be there. Now, I don't know. Will I be ringside?
Well, there's my question.
Yeah.
Saturday, April 22nd, T-Mobile Arena. You will be there?
Oh, I will be there.
Okay.
I will be there. Okay. Yeah, doing a lot of fun stuff for Showtime. I think working with you, Luke, the crew. So I got friends on the basketball side
Saturday
too.
Night.
Shout out to Jack. Shout out to Matt Barnes. those, KG,
Oh, I know those fellas. I know
I
those fellas.
run
Shout out.
deep.
I'm Stack 5, Steven Jackson. He's beloved in these parts. This is Brian Campbell to Reset with Ariel Helwani, 13-time award-winning combat sports journalist right there. We continue to set the stage
Although
here.
you guys won the podcast award twice in a row.
We have been very successful.
I don't know. I want to see those votes.
The historians may say.
Did they stop the count after
the
5,
historians may say me coming into Luke Thomas's life was a major change. They may say that. But as we build to Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia taking the stage today in Los Angeles, we'll be throwing it out to another BC, Brian Custer, shortly once the two fighters
you were doing it right
ready to go. Was not doing it right now. Was looking to little tease at the audience.
You might have to re-tease that 5 times.
But Ariel, we've got a lot to work with when it comes down to yesterday's press conference and ultimately what we learned. Talk about the height, the physicality, the difference there. On paper, 4.5-inch height advantage for Ryan Garcia, a slim reach advantage. How big was that size difference when they went eye to eye in your opinion?
Nah, I didn't think it was a big deal, and I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. Both guys have power. I love the conversation about his left hand versus his right hand that he had with you guys. I watched everything, by the way. I hope you know this. But Gervonta, they call him Tank for a reason. And by the way, him going to the body is not too bad as well. Same with Ryan Garcia.
All right, real quickly, we have footage here. Ryan Garcia has entered the proximity in Los Angeles. You can see him up there on the balcony.
This is incredible theater right now.
Possibly awaiting the arrival of one Gervonta Tank Davis as we get closer.
Should I call him?
To both fighters facing off. If you can call Ryan Garcia live on the air right now, it would be a very interesting theatrical television
Do you want me to
that I would be all in on, Ariel.
It kind of looks, by the way, like he's on the phone right now. Should I wait? That's him and...
Call him right now. Here we go. We are getting closer.
Is this a flex on my part that I have Ryan Garcia's number?
Well, he claimed he's gonna knock out Gervonta Davis just for you, and you'll be there.
That's my
Adrian
guy.
Style. So,
so should I get?
I don't know if that makes me Paulie, but I'm in for multiple variations of this.
I'm gonna FaceTime him.
All right, here we go. The attempt for FaceTime. Ryan is off the phone, as you can see live on the balcony of his hotel room in Beverly Hills, Los Angeles. He's looking at his phone live on the air.
This is a live shot?
Ariel Helwani FaceTime. This is live. We'll do it live.
If we see him decline the call, this is going to be very bad for my street cred.
Unbeaten, rising lightweight sensation, Victorville, California's own.
All right, don't let me down. Right, this is
a big moment right here.
This is a big moment.
Live and direct. Will he accept from the 13-time
I think he's
MMA Journalist of the Year?
Available.
It's possible my weak intro off the start was
he might be on the line there, and I feel like I was kind of. I feel like I was set up. He was on the line, and you guys knew that he wouldn't pick up.
No, I would flex by texting him right now, indeed. But we are getting closer. Who will move first? Would you guess it appears that Ryan Garcia is waiting out Tank Davis here?
It seems like he's waiting for my phone call, if I'm being honest, and wasn't sure. Maybe he didn't have my number in his phone.
It's a good backup.
Got a new number.
Good backup
so I'm going to text him, yo, I'm live on Showtime. He
certainly has a priority of who he's taking calls from in this moment. But the idea of let's say, there's a live look again. Look at the shadow boxing from Ryan. The tie across the shoulders. Back into the room as we get closer in there, Beverly Hills, California, to the start of day 2 of this coast-to-coast coverage, the press tour. Gervonta Davis and King Ryan Garcia. Now, Ariel,
the text has been sent. Let's see.
I don't think we can overplay, like we said off the top, we're almost proud of both fighters to say, no, this fight has to happen no matter what it takes. They pushed the negotiations back and forth on things. They got it to happen. But if you're Ryan Garcia and you're 24, you look at the mentors he's had through the years. He was in the same camp as Canelo Alvarez recently until switching trainers to Joe Goosen. He's got the Hall of Fame promoter of Oscar De La Hoya.
And Bernard
Hopkins. And you're talking about Oscar, what's his legacy? Always tried to make the biggest fight against the biggest name every time out, win or lose. As a boxing fan, you have to love that spirit is being handed down to a new generation. But I think for Ryan Garcia, when we talked earlier about the pressure on each other, a legit part of him is I'm trying to prove to the people exactly how good I am. Forget what you think of me by looking at me. Forget what you've heard. Watch April 22nd. You're going to find out I'm one of the best in the world. And I can certainly get behind that spirit. Did he
wrote back? Here we go. Should I put here we go, guys. He wrote back. Come on, RG. It's like Richard Jefferson.
formerly known as...
Yo, Ryan. Ryan, are you... Go on the balcony. We have a camera, and I want to talk to you right now about...
Balcony already.
Okay.
Balcony, I'm feeling like the Wolf of Waldorf.
Okay, here he is. There's my guy, Ryan Garcia. I'm live on Showtime, and I was telling the world that you said you needed me there, and I'm going to be there. Now, what's going on? Because I told my guy, Brian Campbell here, that you should not show up to that press conference unless Tank is sitting there first. Don't let him punk you, all right? What are you thinking? What's going on?
You got to send a message to Tank that he can't do nothing. He can't punk nobody. I'm going to beat him. I'm going to put a whooping on him for making me wait yesterday.
Are you pissed off? Do you feel disrespected?
Yeah, I feel so disrespected. He couldn't put on an event like this without me. You better start showing some respect before I make him.
Now, what are you hearing? Is he late? What is he doing? You're ready to go. You look fantastic.
I look amazing. Actually, I see him down there right now.
Oh,
Well, I think I see him down right there.
Potential,
Little security.
possible confirmation.
is that him?
He looks even smaller.
Wow, he looks even smaller from up there. What are you, in the penthouse?
He looks like an ant.
He looks like an ant.
Javante. He looks like an ant right now. Anyway, we're about to head down there then.
You're going? All right, my man. We got you.
Hey, Ryan.
Great stuff.
Hey, Ryan, that's a hell of a cardigan you're wearing right there.
You look fantastic, Ryan. You've never looked better, my man.
You're the best.
Hey.
Man, you look amazing too. All right.
All right, peace out. There he is, Ryan Garcia.
Fantastic television here. Ryan Garcia from the balcony.
I mean,
we
can
believe Tank Davis has been spotted on the ground, so we should be moments away.
Is that the biggest exclusive in the history of this
It's
set?
an exclusive, but it exclusively shows that you're a Ryan Garcia homer at this point of the promotion. I mean, let's be honest about this.
There was a moment there where I was like, I hope Tank isn't watching right now because I am screwed. I was just...
When I FaceTime Tank later, we're going to have a big talk about this, just so it's clear, you know.
What's going to happen? I mean, is this allowed? I mean, I don't know.
What I love
Did I
about
cross
it is
the line there?
it's a little pro wrestling, and I like that.
It is a little pro wrestling,
I like that. Look, as we await both
But let me
fighters.
just say, Tank Davis is one of the all-time great fighters in the history of fighting. If I could just go to this camera right here. I actually have a poster in my bedroom, Tank. And
Why do I feel like you're making a ball?
No,
of this right now?
and I just want to let him know, Tank, you got this, my man, all right? You got this, okay? Don't let anyone say to you otherwise. And by the way, Tank, if you're listening, don't show up unless Ryan shows up first, okay? Don't let him.
I feel like this is an evil plan from Ariel Hawani to get more screen time here from the Morning Combat studio in Jersey City. But Ariel, as we build the suspense toward the two of them taking the stage there in Beverly Hills, I mentioned we both dabbled in the pro wrestling idea and love through the past year. Now a WWE personality in some form. But on the Showtime Sports extended combat sports calendar, we're talking about April 22nd, Davis Garcia pay-per-view. How about March 25th, also in Las Vegas, when super middleweights Caleb Plant and David Benavidez, two former champions, meet in a pivotal crossroads pay-per-view moment. We can talk a lot about what this means for maybe the deepest, most red-hot division, 168 in boxing. I want to talk more about the sauce between them. Have you seen the videos? I say pro wrestling style, but there's nothing.
Tremendous.
There's nothing fake about this. The dislike between each other. Have you been, popcorn? Get your popcorn ready or what?
More of it. Give me more of it. And honestly, this fight, it feels like it almost like creeped up on us, right? Like what is it? What day is it today? March 10th? It's in 2 weeks. Unbelievable, right? March 25th.
Today's March 9th. Tomorrow night, Friday, March 10th.
Yes.
Episode 1 of All Access, Benavidez.
That's what I was thinking.
Will debut on Showtime. But
of course, the greatest rapper of all time died on March 9th.
I think the guys from Third Base are still alive.
Shout out Biggie Smalls.
Yeah.
In any event, it was today, anniversary.
I'm more of a Q-tip guy.
Okay.
Everybody knows that. I get actually obsessed with it. It's just that feeling. It's
Yes.
great.
I love this fight. I actually am going to be a homer for this fight. Number one, I'm not working it. Number two, I don't know if some of these guys here know, when we did the Tank Davis weigh-in back in December of 2021 against Isaac Cruz, Caleb Plant came on set and he freaking left me hanging. I went for like the bro hug and he left me hanging. And so ever since then, he's been dead to me. And so that's why I'm all about
Wow.
David Benavidez.
I mean,
I'm very sensitive.
We
I don't know if
are
you know
making
that.
it a little bit about Ariel right now.
It's been said that I like to do that, right? I mean, you asked for my analysis. There's my analysis. What do you think about the fight? You tell me.
Look, I love this fight, not just from the idea of two former champions in such a contested division, which has Canelo Alvarez, threats of Jamal Charlo moving up, Demetrius Andrade, David Morrell Jr., so many big names. But do you love a good grudge match? Because I love a good grudge match, and this certainly is one. Plant has never, shared anything but the opposite of love in the direction of the Benavidez family. There's videos on YouTube of him and David and older brother Jose Jr., father Jose Sr., the trainer, nearly coming to blows. At the press conference to announce this fight, the two teams had to be separated before, during, and after the press conference. Am I easy in that regard? You give me a great fight already, but you put the sprinkle on top of it of legitimate dislike. Is that easy, or does that make me old school and love exciting, amazing
Are you allowed to
moments?
make a pick?
When it comes about time, Morning Combat has been known to make some strong picks. I mean, people still talking about me calling Woodley Till to a T. No one thought Francis would wrestle against
Woodley
Gane
Till?
except
You just
for
went back to
me.
2018
Except
on
for
him?
me, I've done some things. I predicted a draw in Golovkin
Woodley in that
Canelo
fight?
one. By finish, yeah.
Wow.
Let the record show.
You went with the
My
champion.
point ultimately is this. I love the storyline. I love the grudge between them. But as a styles clash, let's say this fight had come to be a year ago. Would I like David Benavidez' chances more? Maybe. But Caleb Plant's turnaround over the past year with new trainer Stephen Breadman Edwards and that resounding viral knockout he had over former champion Anthony Durrell. Did you see this?
Yes, I did see it.
Left hook to the body to bring the guard down, left hook on top. There's something about what the confidence of that has done to Caleb Plant that I think might change some of the dynamics in this matchup. It's something to watch as we get closer down the schedule here that Showtime Sports is putting together.
I am happy that you are mentioning this. I think Showtime, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like 9 events in 8 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, 9 events in 10 weeks, a loaded schedule right now through the summer.
And it actually bothers me. I know I'm more tied to MMA, but it really bothers me when I hear people say, "Oh, boxing is boring, boxing is dead." Boxing, in my opinion, is on fire. First of all, we're getting this. Second of all, we're getting that fight. Not to mention other fights on other networks coming up. Some big fights that we've been waiting for. Not to mention, fights that are potentially in the works. We talked about maybe a Spence Crawford. Like, there's a lot to like right now if you're a boxing fan. And you know what's great about it? We're starting to see the fights that historically don't get made, right? And that's what we want. And I actually feel... Shout out to the women. I feel like the women over the past year and a half or so have really showed everyone... Make the fights. Make 1 versus 2. Make the undisputed fights.
How many fighters do you see, big names in the women's game, moving divisions to make these super fights? Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. I mean, one of my favorite athletes in the world is Katie Taylor. She can't fight Amanda Serrano. She's like, who's the next big fight, right? Let's make it happen. And so I love this, and this is what boxing needs more of. And so this fight, the Benavidez fight, is great. There's none bigger than April 22nd, in my opinion. The great thing about all of these fights that we're talking about is, sure, there's a favorite. I think right now Gervonta is the favorite. And
I think he should be experience-wise. The threat of his power.
But really, could you say for sure? It's not one of those where it's like, okay, we know this guy's going to win. Is it going to be over 7 rounds? Is it going to be just like I could see Ryan Garcia winning this fight.
How about the chip on his shoulder that he carried at Wednesday's press conference, especially saying ultimately, the speed, the power I have, but I want to prove that I can outbox him too. I want to prove that my boxing has improved under Joe Goose, and that the idea of what if this fight isn't the knockout we expect, but is an exciting back and forth, and it becomes more of a chess match. That's something that Ryan Garcia is looking to prove. And on the flip side, does that put more pressure on Tank Davis because he's expected to win this by certain people? It's tough to see, but they are getting closer.
They are getting closer. Can I tell you something that annoys me real quick?
Yeah.
It actually reminds me a little bit of Valentina Shevchenko in MMA. Everyone brings up the Luke Campbell fight. It's like the one time he looked somewhat...
January of 2021, the biggest win to this point in the career of Ryan Garcia.
But he got a little wrong. Okay, big deal. What about all the other fights? What about the 23 or 22 other fights that he's had where he's looked virtually unbeatable, right? I mean, we're holding on to that one Luke Campbell moment a little strong, if you ask me.
Hold on to 16 as long as you can is what John Cougar Mellencamp taught me growing up.
Sure.
But we are moments away. in Beverly Hills, Gervonta Tank Davis, King Ryan Garcia.
Does it feel like my phone call kind of expedited all of this? Because I feel like ever since then, things started to happen.
I think it did. I think
Ryan was like, oh, man.
I think you've been the fulcrum on this fight being made, and really the potential
De La Hoya
of it.
told me the same. He actually said
the participants are starting to sit down on the dais. We getting closer. Day 2 of the two-city, coast-to-coast press tour ahead of the April 22nd pay-per-view, T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Moments away here. How about that reinvention by Leonard Ellerby, style-wise, fashion-wise, just rebranding.
He looks fantastic. By the way, I thought you were going to say, how about De La Hoya's new abs, which also look fantastic. Have you seen these?
Well, I mean, it's fantastic. The word, they look.
He looks great. I wish I had abs like that. I don't know how much those cost.
Does that let you down that they're not real?
No, he's very open about it. I love that.
Okay.
We've talked about it. He said, look, it cost a pretty penny. It hurt for a couple days, but I've never felt better. And dare I say, he's never looked better. He's 50 years old.
We can agree to disagree on the value of fake abs, but we'll
listen. He's flaunting them. He's looking good. I'll tell you someone who doesn't have fake abs. Mr. Bernard Hopkins.
Here it is. The time is now. Gervonta Tank Davis, King Ryan Garcia, Beverly Hills, California. The participants are ready. From Ariel Helwani in 1 BC, we throw it to another. Nice. Let's hear from Brian Custer on stage in Los Angeles.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Want to welcome you to sunny Southern California, City of Angels, Los Angeles. This is the kickoff press conference for Davis versus Garcia. Brian Custer is my name. I'm the host of Showtime Championship Boxing, and it's only appropriate that we're here in Los Angeles because not even Hollywood can script what's going to go down on April 22nd on Showtime pay-per-view. We will have a legacy-defining showdown featuring 2 unbeaten stars in their prime, daring to be great. It will be one of the best fights of 2023. A clash of 2 stars stepping over the promotional broadcast barriers to deliver a mega fight. And with that said, let me introduce the fighters. And coming to the stage, young man, he's got blistering hand speed, one of the most deadliest left hooks in the sport of boxing. Unbeaten, 23-0, 19 knockouts. He's known as King Ryan. He's Ryan Garcia.
Okay. I like it. Okay, I see you. I thought you were going to come out in one of them suits. Oh, for me?
Let me bring to the stage
You would love to be on this.
a young man whose box office, right here, Mr. Garcia. His record speaks for itself. He's sold out arenas, he's broken gate records, DC, Brooklyn, Baltimore. He's one of the most vicious punchers in the sport of boxing. His 93% knockout percentage is one of the best, even among current world champions. He's a 3-division, multi-world champion. He's also unbeaten, 28-0. 26 of his wins have come by knockout. He is Gervonta Tank Davis.
That's my heart. Damn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay. I see you, Sheriff. Yeah.
Are they here? They ain't see me. Troy told me.
No, don't. Hey, guys.
They good.
Keep your hands to yourself.
They good. Yeah. They good. They good. They good. Leave them alone. They good.
This is what you have April 22nd, T-Mobile Arena. 2 unbeaten stars. Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Tank Davis.
He missed. He missed.
The winner takes their crown as one of the pound-for-pound best in the sport of boxing.
What we want. Calvin. All right, gentlemen.
All right, fellas.
All right, gentlemen. Let's go. Okay,
You can take your seat.
Let's get it, y'all.
Take your seat. Give him a round of applause.
Y'all give it up. We bring it back.
Gervonta Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia.
What's up, Stunner? Ow!
Gotta love it.
Only in LA, y'all.
I'm telling you, that's just a preview of what you're going to see on Showtime pay-per-view.
At his best.
April 22nd. 2 of the best in the sport.
Yes.
Daring to be great, putting their O's on the line. And of course, the winner, without question, takes his place as the new face of boxing.
The face.
Here's the particulars. April 22nd, that's what you need to know. From the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, T-Mobile Arena. And it's going to be produced by the destination for the best in boxing, that's Showtime pay-per-view. The event, well, it's brought to you by Premier Boxing Champions. It's being promoted by GTD Promotions, a subsidiary of Gervonta Tank Davis, TGB Promotions, and Golden Boy Promotions. Tickets go on sale Friday, March 10th. You can purchase those tickets through AXS.com. Again, AXS.com. Pre-sale started today. Pre-sale will go through 10 p.m. Eastern. Use the code BOXING for the pre-sale. Let me bring up now some of the preliminaries who helped make this fight happen. I'm going to start with a man who's the lead promoter, one of the best matchmakers in the business. He is the president of TGB Promotions, Mr. Tom Brown.
Thank you, Brian. I'm going to keep this real short and to the point today because I know who you actually came to see and hear from today. I want to say again thank you to everyone that came together to make this fight happen. And we all know who really made this fight happen. It was Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. So thanks, guys. And we have a hell of a show. Got a lot of people speaking today, so I'm going to sit back down and wait for Tank and Ryan to do their talking in the ring on the 22nd of April. Thank you.
TBG. Man, straight to the point.
Let's get to another promoter here. This man's boxing royalty. When you talk about fighting, he's a Hall of Famer. Was the undisputed champion at middleweight. He's also one of the partners of Golden Boy Promotions. Ladies and gentlemen, Bernard Hopkins.
Thank you. Enjoyed this fight. This fight reminds me of the 80s, also the early 90s. I come from a big city called Philadelphia, right? It's what we do, and it's what we like. And then around the world, the fans has been craving it. Thanks to Tank, thanks to Ryan, for the fans and myself, for making this fight happen. Because without y'all, I wouldn't be here, and it wouldn't be a fight. So enjoy the fight. Tell all your friends, even the ones you don't like, to watch this fight. Thank you.
Thank you, P-Hop. Let me bring to the podium now. This man's the chairman and the CEO of Golden Boy Promotions. Again, Hall of Famer, one of the greats, multi-world champion, one of the best to ever. Put on some gloves. Here is Mr. Oscar De La Hoya.
Let me start by saying something that no other promoter in the world can say and talk about. and that is legacy. Okay? This is where legacy starts for both fighters. Both fighters are fighting somebody who's undefeated, somebody who's been a champion, somebody who's at the peak of their career. This is a whole new level. This is a whole new experience coming out to that ring. Bright lights, Las Vegas, but fighting somebody undefeated who has your skill level, who has your will and determination. This is what boxing is all about. I understand it. I've been through it. Hopkins has been through it. So I want to say thank you, Tank Davis, for wanting this fight, for making this fight. But I want to thank Ryan Garcia for wanting this fight for years. This is what it's all about. Boxing is alive. And the winner will be the face of the sport. So may the best man win. But thank you very much to the fighters, because the fans are going to win. Thank you.
Thank you, Oscar. Let me bring to the podium again another one of the promoters. This man is CEO of Mayweather Promotions. He is Mr. Leonard Ellerby.
Thank you. Monster event. April 22nd, this is a must-see event. If the fans can't be in attendance, be sure to tune in, because from round one, I will guarantee you it will be nothing but fireworks, and this fight will definitely end in a knockout. Thank you.
Man, short and sweet. Love that. Certainly, as you can take a look here, we've got boxing royalty here on the dais. There's a number of luminaries out here in the crowd. I saw Kenny Porter here. I know he's been working with the Davis camp. Good to see you, Kenny Porter, one of the best trainers. From the NFL, I saw Brandon Marshall here. Good to see Brandon Marshall here. Good brother of Kappa Alpha Psi as well. So I got to say hello to Brandon Marshall. And I saw, talking about boxing royalty and multi-division champions, Abner Morris. Talking about Southern California, my Showtime colleague. Abs, good to see you, brother. I'll see you this weekend. Another guy talk about boxing royalty. He's worked with all these luminaries. He's one of the guys who helped put this whole thing together. I always call him one of boxing's best friends. What he's doing for the sport, what he's done for the network is just amazing. He's the president of Showtime Sports. My guy, Steven Espinoza.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. You know, up here, I didn't do the math exactly, but we got probably close to 500 years of boxing experience standing here on the stage. That means some of us are really old. But it also means that there are a lot of boxing experience here on this stage. And these are the types of days, and these are the types of events that remind us all why we got into this sport and why we are fans of this sport. And I guarantee you, with all the experience and all the events all these guys have been through, including myself, each one of us has got goosebumps right now, because the energy and the adrenaline on nights like this is something that only boxing can provide. And that's why we're so thrilled to be announcing this addition to the Showtime calendar. Boxing's had a great year. I know sometimes in this sport we're a little bit negative, but there's no doubt about it, boxing has a lot of momentum. You know, on Showtime this weekend, we've got a great fight, Tim Tszyu versus Tony Harrison from Australia. Another great pay-per-view 2 weeks after that. A grudge match in itself, David Benavidez and Caleb Plant. Actually, between now and April 22nd, we've got 9 fights in 11 weeks. But this fight, Gervonta and Ryan, is one of the cornerstones. It's a throwback fight. As Bernard said, a fight and a rivalry that is as big as any in the sport. This telecast is being produced and distributed by Showtime Pay-Per-View, will be available across a variety of pay-per-view distributors, including DAZN Pay-Per-View, We'll be doing 2 episodes of All Access, April 1 and April 7. And if you want to hear exactly what was said between Ryan and Tank yesterday on that stage and today on that stage, I guarantee, tune in to All Access, you'll hear every word of it. I'm not going to take a lot of time. We know who you guys want to hear. I just want to, again, salute the fighters. This is exactly the kind of fight that reflects the best that this sport has to offer. 2 young stars, both in their prime, the 2 most exciting young fighters in the sport, 2 of the best trainers in the sport. But outside the ring, the storylines are even better. As different as these 2 fighters are, physically, their personalities, their styles, they're very alike in one way. What these 2 young men have overcome, what Tank and Ryan have been through, the obstacles they've conquered, it's the stuff of Hollywood movies. Mike Tyson said once, "You never lose until you give up." And giving up is the one thing that neither of these 2 fighters have done. And that's why I know April 22nd will be a classic fight. It's because these 2 superstar fighters are willing to take that challenge. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen, for those words. All right, let's hear from some of the guys out here on the dais. And we'll start here to my left, to your right. One of the newest members of the International Boxing Hall of Fame. You talk about one of the great trainers. I mean, first of all, his family is one of the great families of boxing. Tremendous respect for him, Mr. Joe Goosen.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Brian. How you doing? All right, good to see you. I told you. Look, these are great guys. Look, I mean, Ryan and Tank, they're going to have it out on the 22nd, no doubt. And they're going to have a few words at these press conferences, and that's nothing unusual. But what is unusual is the talent of these guys. I mean, you've got, and I've said it to Ryan before, I've trained a lot of guys over the decades. He is probably one of the most unique individuals I've ever trained in many, many ways. And I'm sure Calvin could say the same thing for Gervonta. You know, he's a special fighter. But I've also got one right here. He's probably one of the most dynamic guys I've ever worked with in terms of speed, power, ring IQ, determination, courage. This is going to be a great fight. I think, you know, both camps realize that these guys are at the top of their game, and they're going to put on a great show for the fans. And I said it yesterday. I don't do every pay-per-view. I don't buy every pay-per-view. But if I were not happen to be luckily enough in the corner for this fight, I would be pay-per-viewing this fight for sure. That's how great it's going to be. And I really can't wait till we get down to the final couple days and get in that ring, and let's find out who the best in the world is. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. I see you and Tank been coat shopping together. I like the leather. Tell you, LA brings out all the stars. I see Dana Pump here, the Pump brothers do philanthropy. The Watsons, Sam Watson, one of the faces of boxing. Judge Mathis, my man, Judge Mathis. All right, let's go here to another great trainer. He owns that Upton Gym in West Baltimore. Some of y'all know him from The Wire. Others know him as a great trainer and the trainer of Gervonta Davis. He's Mr. Calvin Ford.
LA, what's going on? Had changed my swag up with these guys. Goodness gracious, boy, to keep up with these youngins, boy, I don't know. Thank you. Hey, you can't write this, man. I'll go back on something that Floyd said, man, on national TV. Is Gervonta is the face of boxing. He said, absolutely right. That's it, y'all. You can't write this, man. Can't write this. We got the 2 of the best, young, going at it, undefeated. Y'all got to get this fight right here. You got to be in front of a string or there. Because they're going to put on a show. I know my little man. I know what he's going to do. It's all about the fans with him. He don't care. His performance, I told him this got to be the best performance I ever seen. And y'all haven't seen the best of Gervonta Tank Davis yet. Is you willing to bring that out of him? You see him, yo, he came right for the party. Look how oh, man.
But it works both ways, Cal.
No, it does. That's what I'm saying. He made it happen.
Right, exactly.
These guys are showing how boxing supposed to be. Y'all keep saying boxing is dead. Nah, the youngins are coming. And this is the start right here. Y'all look good doing it. See, look, they keep saying boxing is dead. It's not dead. They coming. This is the start. They starting it off to bring that future behind them. I wish the best for both of y'all. Y'all gonna do y'all thing. We're gonna put on a show that everybody gonna be like, man, I wanna fight now. And that's what it's all about. Creating, elevating, keep moving. Let's do this, y'all, here.
Thank
My
you,
man.
Calvin.
Brother Ford, thank you. See, Brother Ford didn't upgrade the wardrobe. He didn't Versace. I see you, Calvin Ford. Okay. All right, listen. You guys came here. You wanna hear from the fighters. So let's bring to the podium. Man, this guy, he looks good. He fights good. And he's got a left hook that will chin check you and put you on your arse. He's unbeaten. There's a reason why they call him the King. King Ryan Garcia.
I want to give thanks to God, my Father in heaven, before I speak. This is a huge event. As you can see, it's the biggest fight of the year, probably in the next 3 years, 4 years. But it's such a big event, but I know I'm coming out on top. It's one moment, it's one thing to get to the moment, it's another to conquer the moment. So I'm not just happy that we're here. I made it happen, but now I'm focused on winning. I don't care about just making it a big fight. It's great that it's a huge fight, but I'm here to win. And I promise you, I got the heart, I got determination you've never seen before. You like to fight guys that don't hit hard, but guess what? I do hit hard. And when I hit you with that left hook,
What else?
yeah, what else? You're gonna see, watch, when I hit you with it, you're gonna be like, what? You're on the floor.
What else?
Sleep.
What else?
Good night.
What else?
Exactly. What else? Then you're gonna wake up in the hospital. What else? I'm awake now. What else? You're gonna wake up.
You only have
Then when you wake up, then what?
Complete fighter.
Then when you get slept, all right, you're gonna see in the ring.
You're not a complete
You're
fighter.
gonna see in the ring.
You don't got no footwork.
Okay.
You don't got no
Okay.
IQ.
Okay.
You don't got nothing, bro.
Oh, thank you. You gave me everything. You gave me. Listen to your coach. You're giving me everything, Dad. I know what I got to work on now. Good one. Good one. Good one. You're so smart, man. You're so. When you get up here, you better finish a sentence. When you get up here, I need to hear something.
That's all.
All right, we're gonna be ready to do it.
You said
I've been
hook.
called out.
What
You know,
else?
I've been calling him out for a while. I see a lot of
What
things
else
I
but
could
a
knock
hook?
you out with.
What else but a hook?
Okay, so when you get
What
hit with the
else?
right hand, then what?
Your right hand
You
ain't shit.
okay? We're gonna see.
Your right hand ain't shit.
Okay, cool. And you couldn't knock out Cruz, who was what?
Listen,
Smaller than small. You couldn't do a lot of things.
You only got a left
You
hook.
couldn't do. You were losing to Barrios, were you not?
You only got a left
Were you
hook.
not losing to
You're not
Barrios?
Barrios.
Were you not? Okay,
You're not
so
Barrios.
so he won. So he
You're
won.
not
So it was close.
right
You see
there.
how I'm not even worried about it.
Look.
Not even worried about it. So
Have you
so
knocked
so why'd you weight drain me?
Have you been
So
knocked
why'd
down?
you weight drain me? So why'd you weight drain me? What? Oh, but so why'd you fight at 140? I'm small. Look, I'm little. I got a little friend. Hey, you gonna be?
Let him finish.
And you got heels on.
Go ahead.
I got heels on. Okay, and you had a purse on yesterday. Shut up. Okay, come on now. Yeah, you got one on now. Come on, man. I'm gonna beat him. I'm gonna knock him out, and that's it. We'll see you April 22nd.
Coming to the podium. Out of Baltimore.
That's right.
He's unbeaten as well. 28-0. 26 of his wins have come by knockout. He is Gervonta Tank Davis.
Let's go.
This guy keep talking about he gonna hit me with a hook. He don't have nothing else but a hook. What else you gonna hit me with? What else? What else? That's all he has. It's a hook. He's not a complete fighter. He's not. And that's why when come April the 22nd, I'm going to walk you to the deep waters and I'm going to drown you. They're going to have to pick you up. Bernard, Oscar, and Joe Goose are going to have to pick him up, and I promise you that. I promise. And that's it from me.
All right, let's talk about the fight. Here we go. Let's get into it. Because yesterday, I mean, you know, everything was nice and civil. And Tank, you know, they always talk about there's levels to this sport. You said yesterday, Ryan Garcia is a great fighter. But from a skills perspective, is Ryan Garcia as skilled as Gervonta Tank Davis?
No. That's all he do. That's all he talk about is a left hook. They always talk about one punch. One punch. That's it. When you're a set fighter, a complete fighter, you can do everything. 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 You can't just depend on one punch. What happened when the one punch don't work? You gotta rely on something else. Come on, bro.
Ryan, same question to you in your response to Gervonta.
I mean, I'm gonna just let him think what he thinks. I mean, if he thinks all I have is left hook, I'm gonna keep letting him believe that. I mean, it's all on him. I mean, he's gonna run into other shots and then he's gonna be confused. So it don't really matter. He just sounds dumb right now. If he watch any of my fights, he understands that I got a lot of other punches. So
like what?
Okay.
Like what?
And you haven't watched my fights, so why are you speaking? No, you haven't. So all I got is left hook. So all I do in my fights is a left hook. All right.
That's it. Left hook.
And you took forever to knock out Fonseca. I knocked out Fonseca in one round with what? A left hook. It's just blessed by God. Don't be mad. The left hook's blessed by God. I know you angry. I know you mad, but it's okay. Maybe all I need is a left hook. Maybe that's all it's gonna take. Damn. Maybe it is. Maybe I just got a left hook. Thank you, God.
Ryan, when people write about this fight, one of the things they said is, how is Ryan Garcia going to keep Gervonta Davis off of him? Can you expound to us on that?
I mean, he's going to try to walk me down like he was saying yesterday, but when he feels shots like this, he's not going to want to do that. And when I hit him to the body and take a lot of the, aggression out of him, he can't do that the whole fight. I mean, he could try, but once he starts getting touched to that body, it's going to be different. I mean, I got a lot of ways to stop him. I mean, he gets hit a lot. You see Leo Santa Cruz was putting so many hands on him.
What happened to Leo Santa Cruz?
Yeah, great. He found the shot. That's why you're a great fighter.
He probably still asleep. And you right behind him.
All right, that's funny.
And that's a fact.
That was funny. But, like I said, I got a lot of things to stop him.
Big ass pants off. Do that.
Oh my! Don't even talk about style. I don't even know what you were wearing yesterday. You look like you fell through a rainbow. Like, just stop, man. You look like you danced with a unicorn. Just stop, man. You woke up in the 2001's vintage store. Just stop right now, please.
Gervonta, reading about this fight, Ryan brought up an excellent point that people wrote about. They said Gervonta Tank Davis does take some shots, and Ryan Garcia is a heavy puncher. Can't that be detrimental to Gervonta Tank Davis in this fight?
Didn't Brian get caught by Luke Campbell? Do I hit harder than Luke Campbell? Do I hit way harder than Luke Campbell? Yes or no, Ryan?
Okay.
Huh?
You don't even understand. All right.
Oh, okay.
All right. How tall was Luke Campbell? You ever think about that? How tall are you?
Bro, you're not
Just
even
stop,
that tall.
man. That's a different range
thing,
shot.
I thought
It was a great shot.
I thought you was way taller than that.
That's great. Is that what you were scared of?
Nah, I
Are you
wasn't.
scared of height? Like, come on, man. If that was what you were scared of, man, that was okay.
Barrio was way taller than him.
Give us some insight, because that face-off, intense. In New York, intense. Can you give us some insight, Ryan? What did you say to Tank, and what did you see when you finally got the opportunity to look at him in his eyes?
I mean, I'm not here to lie. He's ready to fight. I can see that. He wants to bring it. It's not, he doesn't look scared. He's just ready to fight. I am too, though. I know he feels that. We're both got fire in our eyes. That's it.
Gervonta, same question. When you looked in his eyes, what'd you see out of Ryan Garcia? What'd you guys say to each other?
He been on the front run for the people. That's it. I see a guy he's act. That's what he is. I act. That's what it is. Like when he see me in the club, what you ask me? Be honest.
I said, are we gonna fight? I went up to your table by myself.
No,
you gotta like, how many people you
didn't
had?
Say that.
Come on, man, you're not confident.
That.
You gotta roll with a million people. I roll by myself.
Are we gonna be friends
I roll by
after
myself.
the fight? Then you ask, was we gonna be friends after the fight or no?
You talking about? I said we can be friends after the fight. Doesn't everybody do that? You're weird. You got no class. You got no class. So you want to just act big and bad in the club? Come on, man, relax.
For the people, they saw each other in the club here in L.A. and it kind of went left. Let's get back to the fight. Let's get back to the fight. Guys, the winner of this fight, in your opinion, takes his place where when we talk about this division? 140, 135, in your opinion, Ryan?
The top. Nobody else could do this. Nobody else could put this type of event. So whoever wins this is on top. This point blank simple. It's, whoever wins is the face of boxing, like everybody's been saying, and I truly believe that. After this, everybody's pay-per-view numbers are going to go up, either for him or myself, and it's just that simple.
Gervonta, your impressions. The winner of this fight is where in this division?
I feel as though I'm already that guy in the sport. Canelo going out the door. All these guys I'm the face of boxing. Let's just say that. And after this one, it's just me getting over the hump. That's it.
We'll wrap it up with this. Because we're in Los Angeles, Hollywood, all these people have come out here. I always like to ask you guys this.
He brought his whole family. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No. For all these people who are going to turn into Showtime pay-per-view, come out to Las Vegas, spend their money, Ryan Garcia, tell these folk what they're going to get April 22nd.
You're going to get a special moment. You can feel the energy. Something special is going to happen. Stay tuned. I'm going to knock him out. That's it.
Gervonta Tank Davis, tell the people what's going to happen on April 22nd and what they're going to get.
I'm gonna knock him out. Nah, but it's gonna be an explosive fight, man. I mean, if you don't watch boxing, this the fight to watch, for sure. If you can get there, make sure y'all there. If you can't, make sure y'all buy the pay-per-view, because it's gonna be a good one for me.
There it is. Again, April 22nd, T-Mobile Arena, the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, and it's being produced and it goes down on Showtime pay-per-view. Tickets on sale tomorrow. AXS.com, the pre-sale until 10 p.m. tonight. Use the code BOXING. It's what you want, folks. It's what boxing needs, what the sport needs. Two unbeaten at their best, in their prime, going at it, daring to be great. Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for coming out, for tuning in. We'll see you April 22nd on Showtime pay-per-view. We're going one group shot. Good job. Good job, brother. Good job. You did it. You know what I mean? You did it. That's what I was thinking about. That's what I was thinking. Remember that?
Media, while we're doing this group shot, we'll let you know that Ryan Garcia.
Brian Campbell and Ariel Helwani back with you here in Jersey City. You're looking live in Beverly Hills. Day 2 of the Gervonta Davis King Ryan Garcia press conference. And Ariel, I'd say it was a advancement of the iciness between them on day 2. A lot of little fireworks and jabs we saw here.
Loved it. Loved everything about it. Love today's more than yesterday's. Obviously, they were a little more on time, but the tension, the back and forth. I mean, can we just talk about the characters on stage right now? The characters are look at Joe Goosen over there. I mean, he looks fantastic.
Well, he's the best dressed man in boxing going back about 4 decades, and Joe Cool.
Mr. Ford over there is looking pretty damn good as well.
Calvin Ford, the trainer of Gervonta Davis, shining.
Leonard Ellerby looking tremendous with the new beard.
Am I getting Uncle Phil vibes?
Very
from
much
Bel Air.
so.
They're in Beverly Hills.
The fashion is just, there was once a time where guys would show up in their tracksuits or whatever. Not today. I love Ryan. Maybe 1 or 2 more cargo pockets than I would ask for on my pants, but it's a nice move. He can pull it off.
A very strong cardigan game from Ryan Garcia, as we talked about earlier when you FaceTimed him here. It was a little bit of a chicken match of who would go first, but they got there close enough to the starting time this time. And Gervonta Davis going aggressively with this purse on day 2 here.
Yes.
Day 1, the green purse. Day 2, really making some fashion challenges.
I can't wait for this face-off.
All jokes aside, they faced off the start, and you wondered if we were going to have a Canelo Alvarez, Caleb Plant presser situation all over.
I mean, it was like seconds away, it seemed, milliseconds away. They were both tremendous, and we're looking at Ryan Garcia right now, and we're being told that maybe no face-off, so I guess we got it off the top. I'm a little bit disappointed that we're not getting one on the button back, but I guess not. It looks like Ryan's holding court here with the media, and good for them for getting to ask some questions. But I thought, and we were talking about this as it was going on, here's a guy, Ryan Garcia, who obviously has a spotlight on him, who obviously is very popular, who is no stranger to the limelight, but this is the biggest fight and the biggest promotion of his career, biggest opponent, all that. His confidence, his maturity, how calm, cool, and collected he is, actually is a little surprising. He's not stuttering. He's not stumbling.
It's been impressive. And
he's leading the dance here.
So let me take that comment and bring it back to you and phrase it this way. There's a lot of people that'll tell you nothing matters except for when these two touch gloves in the ring, April 22nd, Las Vegas. And to some degree, I'll agree with that. But how often do we say in sports, in combat sports, it's 90% mental? I've often called this type of setting, the extreme close-up of the press tour, the expected tense face-off as the fight before the fight.
Yeah.
There's some element of advancement, of intimidation, of planting seeds. When we look at now 2 days of back-to-back world or East Coast to West Coast coverage of this tour, is it fair to say if there's a winner in day 1 and 2, it's probably Ryan Garcia?
Well, actually, I would give yesterday to Gervonta because it was a flex, right? And so this is me once again calling it down the middle. I thought him showing up late
for the first time, but it's good to see.
First for everything. It seemed like it really bothered Ryan. Now, did he do well? Was he cool up there? Yes, but I felt like that was Gervonta letting him know who the star is, who the A-side is. Today, with the shot of him on the balcony, with him saying, I'm not going till this guy, all that stuff, and then the back and forth, and then the verbal exchanges, Ryan Garcia won today. So I think maybe yesterday was a 10-9, no 10-7s, 10-9, 10-9. That means, we're even going into the 3rd round. I guess 3rd round would be the fight week, right?
The fight week, of course.
Fight week press conference. We suspect there will be one. Even right now, we're seeing, live shots. Ryan's holding court. Where's Gervonta? Right? I mean, maybe he's doing something else somewhere else, but it just seems we're seeing him do interviews here with Showtime. It seems like he is really enjoying this process, that he is not rattled by it. And that's impressive for a 24-year-old kid who usually isn't fighting on a stage like this.
No question. And to be fair, I believe Tank Davis's media scrums all over both sides of this, and of course, more media obligations for both as they continue to build toward the pay-per-view. Photo shoots, a lot scheduled. Look, and the responsibility's bigger at this level. So this is a level Gervonta Davis has been at before. For a first-time 24-year-old, Ryan Garcia is certainly showing out. Let's talk specifics in this press conference, because if there was a high point after the face-off, which you saw the jawing, you saw the potential, it was when Ryan Garcia was called up to the podium by Brian Custer, talking about his game compared to Tank's, and you see Tank sitting next to him, getting visibly annoyed at the comments from Ryan. What do you make of that?
Up,
because I'm not here to say is he in Tank's head. There's a reason why Tank Davis is this dangerous. There's a reason why he's one of the 10 best pound for pound in the game today. But at the very least, he was annoyed by at least the confidence of Ryan.
Sure, absolutely. And he was trying to rattle him. And we're looking live right now at Gervonta, as I said, doing a scrum off camera. So good to see him talking to the media as well, and a ton of media in attendance. So this is really great to see. It really feels like a big event. But yes, sometimes when you have the aggressor in there, it seems as though he's the one who's a little bit upset. And look, we're dissecting, 30 seconds of exchanges here because this is what comes with a big fight, right? You're not usually doing a show like this for, a good pay-per-view, but not like an A++ pay-per-view. This is A++. And I love the fact Calvin Ford was saying a lot of the stuff that we were saying before they went live. Like, this is the type of thing that we don't see enough in boxing and that we need to see enough. And hopefully there are people, again, Crawford and Spence are like, this is what it would look like, right? Maybe they don't have the personalities, but like, I think people would care. People would come out for that. Fury, Usyk, et cetera, et cetera. And so both guys did great. We could dissect it all day long. As expected, Gervonta Davis brings up the Luke Campbell fight once again. I thought Ryan handled that very well, talking about the height difference and all that stuff.
Let's examine that. That's January of 2021.
Aren't they making too much of it?
It's the biggest fight on paper. It's the best opponent Ryan Garcia has faced to this point. He did get dropped early against somebody who's very credible in Luke Campbell, an Olympic gold medalist, a multi-time world title challenger, never did win the championship. Not known as a puncher, though, to be fair. Ryan Garcia took a big shot, but he did get up. He did win that fight by stoppage, and he did almost instantly, to some degree, take back control of the fight, which shows you to a young fighter the backbone, the ability to clear his head, the ability to get back on track after making a big mistake. I'm here to tell you Ryan Garcia is better for that moment, but to act like there isn't some level of a narrative, especially when he's matched up against a power puncher like Gervonta Davis, of can he take the big shot? That's something that it will probably follow him until it doesn't anymore, right? Until some breakthrough moment happens. How many fighters have you seen that? How many times are people still referencing when Canelo Alvarez got rocked by Miguel Cotto's older brother, Jose Miguel, some 13 years ago, right? It does.
Mosley Floyd.
It does live with you to some degree, but
so can he take the big punch?
I don't know. I think the idea of, joining forces with Joe Goosen, it's not that Eddie Reynoso, the great trainer of Canelo Alvarez, wasn't a perfect trainer for Ryan Garcia style-wise, but it turned out to not be the perfect trainer for Ryan Garcia personality-wise. A big reason why he left that camp was that became an all-star camp with big-name fighters. Ryan Garcia wanted the one-on-one personal attention, and that's what he's getting with Joe Goosen. But even though Joe Goosen is among, historically, in a Hall of Fame, I believe he'll be getting in this year, not only is he already a great trainer, he's known for almost kicking guys in the pants, taking good offensive fighters and making them dangerous and great. You could almost argue Ryan Garcia doesn't need that because that's his calling card already, the speed, the power, and the intention inside of him. Ryan Garcia goes after the knockout. He searches for it. But Joe Goosen's influence, I do believe, along with being, to some degree, a mentor, father figure to him, will be the other side of it. It'll be the defense. It'll be the head movement. It'll be not staying in that center line. To some degree, Ryan Garcia has been learning that on the job. I don't know how good he's going to be April 22nd, meaning, and that's an exciting element.
Yeah.
This is by far the biggest step up in Ryan Garcia's career. Gervonta Davis is by far the most dangerous fighter he has yet to fight. But in recent years, we mentioned it. He took a break for mental health. He had injuries. He had overcome surgery on his hand. Sometimes in a sport in which you're only as good as your last fight, and that's true. Fighters only, what do they fight? 2 or 3 times a year if we're lucky. You have a not so good night or an average night. He went the distance with Emmanuel Tagoe, did Ryan Garcia, in his comeback from a long layoff, and people were like, well, you didn't knock him out. You should have knocked him out, right? There's a potential here that he can make an enormous leap come fight night. So if you ask me, do I think, look, how many people, Tank Davis is 28-0 with 26 knockouts. So, very few people do go the distance against him. I do think, though, there's one thing, and I don't think this is going to be lost on Calvin Ford, the trainer of Gervonta, or Tank himself. Even though you're seeing some spiciness between them, if you do watch the interviews closely, the one thing they give the flowers to, they respect Joe Goosen as a trainer, and they respect the hunger inside of Ryan Garcia. If you take somebody this talented, this young, this hungry, this ready to make as large of a statement as possible, and you put him with somebody like Joe Goosen, and you slowly build up the 2 comeback fights that they did, if he can do exactly what he says he does, Ryan Garcia, and prove that he's not just a one-handed fighter with a great left hook and a cute smile, that he can be dangerous with the right hand, that he can box, I think he can round up his game to levels where, yes, you're always going to be vulnerable against a big puncher like Tank Davis, no matter how you are. But I think Ryan Garcia has an opportunity April 22nd to really change every narrative about him. And it's going to take toughness, but it's going to take head movement. It's going to take a commitment to defense. He's going to have to be, in some cases, the best possible version, a different fighter that he's been before. But is it possible right here for this young fighter with this trainer behind him, with this much at stake? Oh, yes, it is. The talent is there. If you're going to build a fighter, do you want the intangibles that are already present in Ryan Garcia? You better believe it.
So you talk about, you're only as good as your last fight. Of the 2, the one that we've seen most recently is Tank Davis back in January. assess his performance, how did he look in that fight, in your opinion?
I love that performance out of him. And ultimately, is Hector Luis Garcia the perfect embodiment comparison to prepare for a Ryan Garcia? No. The last name is really the only thing that's the same on there. Hector Garcia is a boxer puncher, but he's crafty. He's a southpaw. But it showed continuously the part of Tank's game that I truly believe he does not get credit for. And a big part of that is when you are knocking people out so consistently, and he's 26 KOs and 28 knockouts, and 28 fights, excuse me. People don't really know if you're a great boxer because they see you bully people. They see you walk down guys. They see you get them out of there early. I have Tank Davis in my top 10 pound for pound on CBS Sports because I've seen the times he's been tested. I see the adjustments he makes. I see him as one of the most efficient counterpunchers in this game on a level of almost Canelo Alvarez-like in that regard, where he doesn't throw that punch. Jermell Charlo, another great patient counterpuncher, where they wait for the moment where they can significantly alter and even end the fight to land that big shot. Tank against Hector Luis Garcia took his time against a savvy fighter. Wasn't afraid at the potential of, if I get injured here, if I lose here, this can all fall apart. Felt he needed the rounds to stay ready and stay sharp. And even though it was his power that ultimately won it, the way he broke Hector Luis Garcia down over time, taking his time, Tank's a technician. And I think that's been lost on a lot of people. And it can be when you see a guy tatted up, you see a guy, to Tank's detriment at times, who can be in the headlines for the wrong reasons. You can form a different opinion. The real ones know, though, that if this goes 12 hard rounds, if this is more chess match than shootout, it'll be a different fight in some degree than we expect. But what I learned against that Hector Luis Garcia fight is Tank Davis's boxing is everything he says it is. I don't know if I agree with Tank when he looked Ryan in the eye and said, "You have no IQ, you have no right hand." I think to some degree, it's gamesmanship that's trying to, bully him. They know Ryan Garcia is a kid with some attitude, with some real ambition, and with some real danger in there. But Tank, he's seen that before, though. He has seen that before to some degree. But has he seen it in a package this dangerous? That's the real question. Because we talked about that on Wednesday, Luke Thomas and I. Is this the toughest opponent of Ryan Garcia's career? Yes. But is this the toughest opponent of Tank Davis's career? On Wednesday, Tank Davis said, "You know what? I think it might be. I think it might have that potential to be."
Of course it is.
Not in terms of accomplishments yet, but in danger on the night.
Skill, absolutely. Now, you mentioned the headlines, and I was just going to ask you about this. Obviously, that's the elephant in the room. He's been in the headlines, Tank Davis, for the wrong reasons as of late. Now, very close to his last fight, and he prevailed. But different fight, different opponent, bigger stage, more scrutiny is probably going to come leading up to April 22nd. How much of a factor do you think all of that is? Ryan's got nothing going on in terms of controversy, in terms of distractions. Tank does. Do you think that could be a factor going into this?
In a different athlete, that's a hot button topic. Yeah. And I don't mean to downplay any of the allegations against Tank or the court dates coming up and anything about that. And he's certainly faced the music in that regard. But a different athlete, you would worry about that. But not only is Tank Davis great, not only we're flaunting his skills here, but there are special athletes who are unbreakable, unflappable. Floyd Mayweather, John Bones Jones on the UFC side. We just saw a glorious comeback after 3 years.
That's a good point.
Where I don't want to say to some degree that they're fueled by the chaos, because I don't think that's an accurate way to say it. But the ability to press pause, zone in on the target, and not let anything break your preparation and your performance on the night. In that regard, Tank Davis is special. And I think that's why, Floyd Mayweather, who has long been a mentor and promoter for him, that's why Floyd put his arm around him early, saying, this kid isn't just exciting, isn't just blowing people away. There is, from a fighting sense, something very special in the intangible category. And, we brought that up yesterday with his trainer and almost fatherly mentor in Calvin Ford, who just said, look, it's like, it's a focus. It's a different. It's just it's not great. He's maturing on the job in terms of living his life in the public, making mistakes. But even with the potential of where some of that can go outside the ring, I don't have any question that it's still going to be Tank time inside the ring when it's time to deliver. And I think, Ariel, what we've learned through 2 days is 24-year-old Ryan Garcia is probably not going to buckle in front of the moment at the same way.
He is ready for this moment, man. And I'm, for him, happy. I'm happy that he's getting this moment. I'm happy that he's getting this fight. I'm happy that he drove this train, because I often felt like it was weird, especially in the world of boxing, how many people wanted to take credit away from Garcia, talk about his looks, talk about the social media. Like, this guy's trying to promote himself. What is he supposed to do? You want him to change his face? Do you want him to get less followers? He's just doing his thing. He's bringing eyeballs. But if you just, listen, if you're a boxing guy and you are just focusing on that and you can't call it like it is, regardless of who he's fighting, and say this kid has skills, this kid has talent, then I question your authority, I question your credibility, I question all of that. Like anyone can look at him and say he has skills. Now, has he been truly tested? Has he fought the creme de la creme? No, but how many guys are fighting the creme de la creme at 22, 21, 23?
True.
Right? No one's doing that. How many guys are fighting the creme de la creme at 15-0, at 14-0, at 16-0 in boxing? And now here's a kid who's 24 who said, I'm not even going to take an extra payday because I don't want to do anything to mess this up. Tank took the extra payday, and God bless him. I thought it was very impressive that he did that and won and didn't get hurt. Love it. But look, we just saw Amanda Serrano take a fight in February, and that delayed the Katie Taylor mega fight in May. Now, she wanted that for herself. She wanted to be undisputed. But now that rematch is up in the air, right? So there's risks, is my point. And I'm really impressed with where Ryan Garcia was 2 years ago. Remember, people were saying that he was done, that he was going to be a never was. What do you mean mental health? What are you talking about? Like, what do you have to worry about? What's bothering you? And honestly, to show the poise and the maturity to even talk about that. How many athletes are talking about that? How many 20-year-olds? How many sub-25-year-olds
The
are
answer
talking
would be
about
not
that?
enough, without question.
Especially in a individual sport, right? You could talk about it if you're an NBA guy, and God bless, I love when they open up to us like that. I think that's part of the reason why we like the fight game, right? The characters are great. They're so willing.
The access, because they're so real.
Yes.
They're so raw.
But a lot of guys aren't going to be that vulnerable in this tough alpha male world that they live in. They're not going to be that vulnerable. Here's the good-looking kid with all the media, all the followers, all the supporters talking that vulnerably. It's damn impressive. Like, I don't know how you could be a hater. And by the way, I think the fighting itself, how could you not be a fan? I watch him do that over and over. I was like, with his brother, and I'm like, this is amazing. That speed, that power. He does that left. I mean, it looks like it, right? What I was just doing there, it was. I've been working out.
I mean, when you say looks like it, it's
you can touch.
I don't think I can even see it over there.
Right there.
Is that polyester right there? I mean, I don't even know.
Okay.
Wow. The idea of this fight being super unique. It could be the biggest fight of 2023. And like Ryan Garcia said, it's one of those fights that, it comes on the horizon, could be the biggest fight in 2 or 3 years, if it lives up to expectations, if there's reason for a rematch and all of that. But it is a different type of event from the audiences. And you and I both cover all facets of combat sports, but you're right in the heat of what goes on in mixed martial arts. But I almost feel like to the casual boxing fan who's already in the fight game, mixed martial arts fan, is Tank Davis not already their favorite fighter? Because all you have to do is watch that sizzle reel. All you have to do is see the highlights. What's the easiest thing about boxing to understand? Well, that guy hits really hard and they don't get up afterwards. Where do you think the MMA fan pulse is heading into this one? I feel like they're just as excited as the idea of these two fighters with their own far-reaching casual fan bases and entertainment in different sports. I mean, this really feels like a global event.
Oh, absolutely. I've heard actually from a lot of MMA fans, obviously a lot of them are, the ones who are following me and all that stuff, saying like, I don't usually buy boxing pay-per-views, but this one I'm buying. I don't know if those people are necessarily buying, your other great boxing pay-per-views, but this one to me is the fight of the year on paper, right? We'll see what happens. And so I think this event, this fight speaks to a lot of people. I think MMA fans feel that this is familiar. Oh, the two best guys are fighting each other? Oh, this is what we're used to. Oh, the two undefeated studs. And sometimes it's like, is it too early for this guy to lose? Who cares, man? We only get one life. Make the fight, give the people what they want, make the fans, make the public feel like they are getting their money's worth. And so I love everything about it. And I even what comes with big fights like this are the press conferences, are the theatrics, the showmanship, but even the little things like the rematch clause, the hydrate. I love all that stuff. We don't get that type of stuff in MMA. I love that.
The catch weight, 136 pounds.
Can I ask you about this? How do you feel about this? Because Ryan just brought it up again at the press conference. You're trying to drain me, this and that. Do you feel like that's what Tank is trying to do?
Well, look, it's hard. In one regard, you could say, well, look, the purity and the fan in me, I want things to be even.
Sure.
But boxing, really, compared to any other sport, is often more business focused along with the fight focus, meaning whether it's fortunate or not to be a hardcore boxing fan and day to day, you have to be informed and be willing to follow the ebbs and flows of business on the same level that you do of who's fighting who and who's going to win, because of how hard it can be to make some of these matchups in that regard. And what that builds is power structures, and if you're a commercial star just as much as a critical star, that can give you a leg up in negotiations. And we've seen big pay-per-view fights in the past, and we've long seen, whether it's Oscar De La Hoya, the former pound-for-pound king, or the man he handed that baton to in their 2007 fight, Floyd Mayweather, that even if you get two stars together where it feels odds-wise, it's a 50-50 fight, where it feels, wow, we've got two equal-sized fan bases coming together, and, Ryan Garcia, the Mexican-American, Southern California fan base, and Gervonta Davis crossing over to so many elements of entertainment, and how many times do we see stars at his event, that this is going to be a truly massive event, bringing all different people from all sides together.
But going back to the question, do you feel like he's trying to do that?
Do I feel like he's trying?
Do you feel like Tank is trying to drain him? Do you feel like he's trying to gain an advantage here?
Well, look, I guess what I'm trying to say is there's a long history of that. Yes, I do think he's trying to do that. But there's a long history when you put two fighters together of saying one of them is always going to feel like the true A side. Because isn't that the ultimate flex in a lot of ways? You know what I'm saying?
Who is the A side here in your opinion?
I mean, you look at the marquee, it's Tank Davis's name first. And I would say if there has to be an A1 to an A2, you would look at the experience edge and maybe who's been more consistent in driving pay-per-view buys and selling out arenas across this country. That's certainly Gervonta Tank Davis.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's always been a flex of two alphas coming together, of trying to see in the negotiation process, what can I get an edge on you, whether it's a mental edge or whether it can be through a catch weight or something like that, a physical edge. So in this regard, is that a strategy by Tank? I would say yes, but I would always take you back for a reason to that De La Hoya Mayweather fight, because until Floyd became the man and took that baton and defeated Oscar that night, which happened to be my wedding night, by the way.
Wow. What did you do?
I got married. I didn't watch.
You didn't watch the fight?
No, I had to check on my flip phone afterwards in 2007 to see who won that in that regard.
Did you consider changing the date?
Well, there's a long story built into that, but hold on. The point of that is I'm ultimately saying is that
I feel like you've opened the door.
Is that Floyd Mayweather had to move up to Oscar's weight. He had to fight with Oscar's gloves. He had to fight on Oscar's terms in that regard. But hey, real quick, because you asked Ariel, I was working at ESPN at the time.
Okay.
I told my boss, I identified the late great Anthony Mormile and said, hey, boss, there's this fight potentially going to get signed soon in Las Vegas, and I'm a nobody at ESPN, just a jabron working overnights, right?
Yeah.
And I said, if this fight gets made, it's the super fight boxing has waited for 6-7 years, which is an eternity when you're waiting for the big one. And I said, if this happens, can I go? He goes, we'll make it work. You're going to go. And then the next day after that, I bought my wife an engagement ring and I gave it to her, and she, what she said? Well, yes. And then she said, we should get married on the 1-year anniversary of our first date, Cinco de Mayo. And you know what I said, Ariel? Yes.
And you knew.
Do you know what happened the next day? They announced Mayweather-Pacquiao for May 5th, but we had already put the deposit down on the venue. You know how that goes, right? You're a married man. You've got a beautiful family. You know how that goes. But, it's not about you or me in the end. It is about these two fighters. Wow. April 22nd on Showtime pay-per-view, of course, T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas.
Can I just tell the public, please don't get married on April 22nd, all right?
Yeah.
If you're scheduled to get married, cancel it.
If you can be there in Las Vegas, AXS.com, you can get tickets, T-Mobile Arena. Showtime pay-per-view is the only place to watch it. And as we continue to bang the drum to get you excited, Saturday, April 1st is episode 1 of the 2-part series, the Showtime documentary Pre-Fight Build, all access, Davis versus Garcia. You are not going to want to miss that. Ariel Helwani, 44 days until these two touch gloves. Can't wait for Fight Week. I can't wait to see where we are at that point. There's no love lost between them. There seems to be a lingering level of respect. But I think, if anything, these 2 days, Times Square, New York City, yesterday, today in Beverly Hills, has given each certain levels of motivation to bring back to camp.
Oh, and a shout out to the great Steven Espinoza, who gave us a nice plug for All Access. If you want to find out what they said to each other yesterday, you'll have to watch All Access on April 1st. I can't wait, because that's what I was talking about.
So they were mic'd up right there. They were all...
Apparently. And you guys were trying to figure it out yesterday, and I guess we'll find out if you were right.
I think Luke was right. I think Tank looked in his face and said, you're not that guy.
And I'm sure he thought that. And he kind of reiterated that point today. So I can't wait. I cannot wait. And you know what's great about this, by the way? What day is it today? March 9th. April 22nd, not that far away. These are my favorite kind of fights. The ones where it doesn't feel like, A, we have to wait a very long time, or B, something bad could happen, right? If it's a 3-month process, this isn't a 3-month process. I think we found out February 27th, the date, the official date. That was just a couple of weeks ago. Here's the press conference. Boom, get it out of the way. Build up, Vegas. Here we come. April 22nd. Can't come soon enough.
We can find your work in many different places, Ariel. You're well employed these days.
Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate you. So are you trying to, what are you trying to say there? I wasn't sure. Are you trying to let people know that I'm actually not a bum and that I have other things to do? I wasn't.
I mean, they can find your work on various platforms.
Okay.
You know, that's,
were you trying to tell me that? Were you trying to make me feel better about myself?
No, I was trying to key up a little plug there. But, coming live right now, of course, from the Morning Combat Studios, Luke Thomas and Brian Campbell, myself normally in this chair, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We will have a lot more on reaction to these press conferences come Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern on YouTube on the Morning Combat channel when we get back at it. Ariel, I'm sure you're going to have a lot to say on the MMA Hour.
And I feel like we didn't talk enough about the FaceTime. I mean, really, talk about.
Are you trying to declare an MVP of this day 2 of the press conference?
Everyone's talking about it. It's clipped off.
I mean, would you say that
maybe you would bring it up in the? I think we're wrapping.
Would you say that you're responsible for this second day of the press conference starting relatively on time?
You said it, not me. I mean, I just think that after the call, look what happened. He saw him. That all happened on the call. He saw him. He called him an ant. He came down. I got to go. Minutes later, they show up wearing the same thing. So clearly it was live.
That's an interesting Rolodex you got in that cell phone. You know, you could butt dial the president, I'm sure.
You have no idea. Which president? Of which organization?
CEOs, all different titles. All different titles.
All of them.
Wow. Fired up. April 22nd, Showtime pay-per-view. Gervonta Tank Davis and King Ryan Garcia. We've enjoyed setting the stage for the press conference in Beverly Hills, but for now, it's time to get fired up for the fight. That's Ariel Helwani. This is Brian Campbell. Thank you for joining us today. 44 days to go till they touch gloves in Las Vegas. We'll see you there. Enjoy.
When you're authentic to who you are, everything else will fall in place. People are gonna love, they're gonna hate, but you never know who's watching.
Everything I do, I want it to be as original as can be.
Somebody did it like this, I'm gonna do it this much iller. Who comes back and rescues himself?
This was our moment to let people know how we felt as a team.
We've revolutionized this game with our influence.
I've been investigating Ghostface attacks. He's here in New York.
Hello, Gail. Did you miss me?
You want to try and finish this? Go ahead.
I'm something different.
We've got to lure him and we execute him.
Scream, only in theaters March 10th.
Davis hurt Garcia, and it's over!
Now we look forward to Ryan Garcia. Is that your plan, and is it on track?
I'm ready. This sets the stage to face Ryan Garcia in what is a mega fight.
Tank wants to rumble. I just want to get that on already.
He's hungry, for sure. I'm hungry. Both of us in our prime.
They want to fight each other. In Ryan Garcia's case, that he said, no, I need this fight. They want the smoke.
It's going to have that type of thrill and atmosphere.
He's been training, he's been talking. Let's see who's really about that.
Every time Tank fights, we all know what to expect.
Serious power.
Here's what makes Tank great.
Lethal left. Nunez back to the ropes. Left hand. And that's it.
How about that speed and length of Garcia?
Oh, there go the legs. And the Game Boy.
Insanely fast hand.
And down he goes.
But against Tank, is he still going to have that forward pressure strategy?
Everybody's going to think somebody's going to win more than the other.
We got a task in front of us. We coming to get you.
We're going to be ready.
The mega fight, Tank's power, with Ryan, his hand speed. Won't that be something?
I want to leave an impression every time I step in that ring.
I want jaws to drop when they hear I'm fighting.